Hey, this is Don Zico again. This is going to be the second battle report from the July 3rd tournament I recently went to. This time it'll be against Lizardmen. Now, if this Lizardman army looks familiar, that's because it is. This is my twin brother's Lizardman army that I played against in the first battle report I put up here. And, I mean, this was a little bit of a disappointment because a lot of the reason I go to tournaments is to be able to play against people I haven't played against before. Um, and not only that, but I kind of hope that either myself or my brother would win. And if we're playing against each other in the second round, that means, presumably someone's got to lose, and that's going to make it very hard to win the tournament. But it was a small tournament. There were only about 10 players, and we both won our first round games. So the organizers had no choice but to pit us against each other. Now, before I get into deployment, let me describe the scenario we're playing. The tournament, since it was on July 3rd, it's and we're all patriotic Americans here. This is a Independence Day themed tournament. The second scenario was called the Rockets' Red Glare, and what that meant was that on one turn of the game, each player could set off rockets, which means that it would force the entire enemy army to take a stupidity check. And if if a unit already suffered from stupidity, it would take a stupidity check at -1 to their leadership. And beyond that, the battle it was basically just a pitch battle. So I'll make sure to let you guys know when I and my brother decided to use that. All right, so going into Lizardman deployment, on his right, he's going to have a unit of skink skirmishers with a skink priest in them. Next to that, he's going to have a unit of 8 Saurus Cold One Riders, and then a unit of 3 Salamanders sitting kind of right near the center of the table. Then next to that, he's going to have his block of 19 Temple Guard with a Hero and his Slum Mage Priest. That'll be flanked by his Engine of the Gods on a Ancient Stegodon. And coming across to his left, he's got a unit of 4 Pterodon Riders and another unit of 10 skink skirmishers in front of the Stegodon, and another unit of 10 skink skirmishers way over on his extreme left. So my basic battle plan is going to be similar to my normal one. That I'm going to try to use my shooting and my Hydra and Dark Riders to deal with to get rid of his skinks, his salamanders, and his pterodons, and then hit his big valuable stuff with my Cold One Knights. The kind of added twist is that I'm going to rely on magic quite a bit. I took Shadow Magic on my level 4 and got very lucky. I got Pit of Shades and Unseen Lurker, and of course Pit of Shades is just death to Lizardmen with all of their very expensive low initiative models. So looking at my right flank, I'm going to have my Dark Riders on my extreme right next to my Hydra. Then I'll have my Cold One Knights, my Cauldron of Blood, and my Warriors with my Sorceress, and then my Warriors with my level 2 Sorceress in them. In the middle, I'll have my Crossbowmen on a hill. My Shades are next to them. Now, ordinarily I would want to put my Shades in that forest on my right, but that's next to the Pterodons. They can drop rocks on me even if I'm hidden in the forest. So with 18 point models that have no armor and toughness 3, I don't want to be anywhere near those things. So the Shades just go in my deployment zone. And then I'll have Cold One Knights and Dark Riders on my left. And the Dark Riders are designed to be used as redirectors to ensure that I can get a charge off against his Cold Ones. So that brings us to Dark Elf turn 1. Let's see, movement. There's not a whole lot going on. I'm going to move I'm going to run my Dark Riders up in front of his Cold Ones on the left flank and move up my Shades and Crossbowmen slightly so they can shoot. And on my right, I'm going to move up my Mages just enough to be in range to cast spells. My Hydra is going to run up into the woods, and my Dark Riders are going to start moving around the right flank. Now, I mean, this is another issue with us playing against each other, is that this is a closed list tournament, but we both knew exactly what was in each other's lists. So anyway, I knew he had one Dispel Scroll, but he managed to stop my magic without using it, since he has a formidable 7 Dispel dice with this army. So magic was just inconclusive, and in my shooting, I'm going to put a wound on a Salamander and kill a few of the crewmen on a Salamander unit. On the Lizardman turn 1, Okay, on his right, he's going to advance his salamanders a little bit and his skinks to get a good round of shooting in against my dark riders. And then he's going to pull his Ancient of the Gods around to be to be closer to the center of his line, so you can turn on that the ward save bubble that the Ancient generates. And he's going to sort of move his skinks and his pterodons around to try and be set up to shoot back at me if I advance on him any further. So the Lizardman magic, he's got a significantly more firepower than I do, with 2 skink priests and a Salon Mage priest against my 1 level 4 and 1 level 2. But the effect is that basically neither of us are extremely effective at stopping the other's magic. I hold him off on this turn though, although I believe I have to use one of my 2 scrolls. And then he rolls pretty poorly on his shooting, so he only manages to kill 1 Dark Rider, and then the remaining 4 pass their panic check. Then on my turn, I'm going to charge those skinks with the skink priest with my Dark Riders. They flee as a charge reaction, but I run them down. And my other movement, I'm going to kind of keep my other troops on the left more or less where they are. I'm going to run my Hydra up to be in the flank of his Temple Guard and set up to breathe fire on him. And I'm going to fly my mage right in the flank of his Temple Guard block. I did this because I had Crown of Tidron, and I was pretty confident that I could clear out the worst of his shooting and potentially have a slightly more threatening magic phase, although it was a pretty risky maneuver. And then in my magic phase, disaster strikes the Lizardmen. My level 4 is going to cast Pit of Shades on his Stegodon. On 4 dice, I get an irresistible force, so he can't really do anything about it. He fails his Initiative 2 initiative check, and the Stegodon, with its level 3 mage on it, is gone. Also in my shooting, I'm going to kill, I think, 5 or 6 skinks out of that unit next to the Temple Guard with my Hydra, but they do not panic. And my other shooting is going to kill the rest of his skink handlers and 1 of his salamanders, and they're going to fail their monster reaction check, so they wind up being unbreakable but not allowed to move for the rest of the game. Okay, so the Lizardman player just had a real hard time on my turn. He's going to try and pull it back together without a huge amount of success. He flies his pterodons over my level 4 mage, and their rocks wound her twice, wound the Pegasus once, but that will not be enough to take her out of action. He's also going to move up his skinks to try and shoot at her past my Hydra. And then on his, he'll advance his Temple Guard slightly, and on his other flank, he's going to move up his cold ones, but only a little.